A bill is a proposed law before it becomes a law. There is a long process that it goes down before it becomes law, a process for another video. Bills get introduced into New Zealand's parliament in 4 different ways. There are government bills, which are proposals by ministers of the government cabinet to become law. This is the most common way that a bill is introduced. There are private and local bills that aren't very common, and the bill that we're here to talk about today, members' bills. A members' bill is a bill proposed by MPs who are not government ministers. This can be a backbencher MP in the governing party, an MP in opposition, or in the crossbenchers. They just can't be ministers. David Seymour famously chose not to become a minister in 2014 because he wanted to put forward a members' bill. I heard that you turned down becoming a minister like John Banks before you and like Ronnie Hyde before him. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, if I became a minister, I wouldn't be able to have a private members' bill in the ballot, so I would have had to abandon end-of-life choice. And I felt it was important that I maintain my power as a backbencher, or as an under-secretary outside the executive at least, to get that legislation done.
Now these bills can be about anything. They can be a grand and aspirational new law, or they can be simply proposals to amend current laws to fix any holes or issues that are in the current law. Now every second Wednesday, the Parliament makes time to consider these members' bills. There is a fun lotto system in which bills have to be put in this old biscuit tin and chosen at random to add to the agenda of the House.
Okay, tip the tokens into the tin.
$53.
53 is the Te Turi Whenua Māori bill, which is the Honourable Jerry Brownlee's.
Now these bills can be very impactful. Many big laws that you may have heard of were from members' bills. The Green Party's Crime Substitution Section 59 Amendment Bill, or better known as the Anti-Smacking Bill, was originally a members' bill. Additionally, things like homosexual law reform, marriage equality, and euthanasia were all members' bills. These bills have no limit on what they could be about, so the government has the right to veto these bills based on financial reasoning. This is what happened to Sue Moroney's Parental Leave and Employment Protection 6 Months Paid Leave Amendment Bill, where the government at the time said it was too expensive.
It in fact equates to only 0.7% of the additional spending that this government has already committed to the budget for 2016-17. 0.7%. Now that is no justification for a threat of a financial veto.
Now most members' bills fail to get passed, but what they do is make the Parliament have to discuss the contents of the bill and have to take a position on the topic. If a bill doesn't get passed, a party might very well be punished by the public in the next election. Members' bills can also be used to push forward government priorities. If a members' bill is drawn on an issue that the government promised to resolve in the last election, it will motivate them to actually get it done and maybe even pass this members' bill. The truth is, however, most members' bills are dead on arrival. With the government making up the majority of the Parliament, most of the time they would have already proposed the bill themselves if they wished it to become the law. These bills have to have great public support like marriage equality or euthanasia to get off the ground, or be so minuscule and make so little change that the government just hadn't thought about it yet, like David Seymour's Sale and Supply of Alcohol Extended Licenses During Rugby World Cup Bill, which was a temporary liquor license extension during the 2015 Rugby World Cup.
Several people have criticised the bill and the Parliament's use of time on this matter. Mr Speaker, the bill in its present form allows for licensed pubs and clubs to open outside of normal licensing hours in certain circumstances. If a Rugby World Cup 2015 game or series of games begins within 2 hours of normal closing time, then that venue will be licensed automatically to stay open under its usual terms, but for until 1 hour after the end of that game.
But this is a great part of New Zealand's democracy. Many people describe our democracy as an elected dictatorship, with the governing parties being able to push through their agenda with not a lot of pushback or checks and balances. However, members' bills give the other parties the opportunity that bring forward issues that matter to them and their constituents, and sometimes they can actually be passed.
I am proud to be the sponsor of this bill before the House, which seeks to define marriage as between two people, regardless of their sex, sexual orientation or gender identity. It is generally known as the bill which will enable marriage equality between consenting adults, underpinned by principles of love, fairness and equality of opportunity for all New Zealand citizens.
The ayes are 77, the noes are 44.